And add to that, because Nashville just today or yesterday did one of the English-only official English language. What's bringing that about, Bud?
I think there are many factors. Number one, in terms of sheer numbers, immigration today is very, very high, higher than it's been since the early part of the 20th century. Although if you look at immigrants as a percent of the U.S. population, it's much lower today than it was 100 years ago. But there's been a surge. I mean, not just Hispanics, Asian immigrants, African, Caribbean immigrants. I mean, people coming in from all over the world. And it's immigration and migration is an issue not only in the United States, it's an even bigger issue in Europe, and a much more contentious issue. We argue about it, but we're not fighting pitched battles right now. Because historically we've done a much better job of integrating immigrants into the economic and social mainstream. I think globalization has been a factor. The world's changing rapidly. 9/11, a perception that with all this globalization, all this immigration, we're a perception in some places we're losing jobs. Yeah, we are losing jobs. We forget to mention that we're creating a lot more jobs than we're losing. So I think it's a whole host of things, and latent racism may be part of it. Do you know that Texas and California have the largest Hispanic populations, and in numerical terms, the growth has been much greater than anywhere else. But in percentage terms, this isn't where the Hispanic growth is occurring. Do you know which state has had the fastest Hispanic growth in the last 15 years?
North Carolina.
It's Georgia. And the second fastest is North Carolina.
You want to add anything to that?
I'm going to try to address it from maybe a Hispanic point of view. I think that may be a little more clear to some people here. The anti-immigration movement, I think, to our communities, and I say our because of my culture and my heritage, is really not an issue in the sense that we unfortunately view things in a racial mode. I think that there's a danger in trying to address the immigration movement as a racial movement. I think that's a very dangerous word, and I think that's a very explosive word. In our communities, and I'll say this as well as all of us, many of us are very diverse because we're not all of Mexican origin. Many of us have many friends who are from various countries that are have Hispanic cultures and Latin cultures and what have you. When I see an anti-immigration movement, I worry not about the issue. I worry about the signals that we're sending out to our children and to our communities when we see what we saw here in Fort Worth with all our children walking out of schools. The very first thing that impacted particularly the Hispanic community and the Hispanic leadership that got behind that was, hey, you can't just walk out of school because you want to walk out of school. That's a no-no. The kids said, well, we're upset because we don't know if our parents are going to be at home when we get home because of this new law that's being passed. And of course it was being considered, and the kids, they get real reactionary when they think that when they get home their parents are going to be deported. So it becomes a very intimate issue as far as, if you want to call it an anti-immigration movement. I think it's an anti-family movement sometimes, and unfortunately it's not part of the building blocks of this country, and I think many of us worry about that. Earlier today, one of our noted city council people was having his kickoff, and of course he addressed the group with the fact that his parents are, of course, from Mexico, and that's Councilman Espino. This is the kind of when he was talking, he noted that he was very thankful that his parents put him through a public education, that his parents had the vision to come here, and that's how he's making his contribution, knowing that with his heritage, he is someone that wants to build a city that he's given from his culture and his heritage, that building. Is that an anti-immigration statement? Is that an anti-immigration individual? You know, am I an anti-immigration person or a person that's a product of an anti-immigration issue? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think when it comes down to that term, I think we need to be very careful in understanding how something like that, to me, can become an anti-family issue, which is wrong in this country, just totally wrong.